Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video. Today I'm going to recap the Warhammer World Kill Team Teams tournament, which happened about 2 weeks ago in March at, well, Warhammer World. So I'll be going over how I did in this team format with my team and just rating the event as a whole. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as comment about what you thought of the video, the event, and whether you're interested in team events and what you'd like to see for the channel as a whole. So yeah, please let me know. So yeah, if you've been following me on like Twitter and Facebook, I basically bought tickets for the Kill Team tournament back in, when was it? I think November, December of last year. And it's been kind of quiet on it, but it's effectively a team tournament. So it's teams of 3 players. Each team has to have unique kill teams, so you can't go like 3 Pathfinders or 3 Harlequins. And yeah, it was very appealing to me. One of the problems we had was actually assembling a team of 3. But it was really cool because I played a lot of team format events in Warhammer Underworlds, and I really enjoyed that aspect because team events are really unpredictable because you're only in control of your own game, yet you have a lot of room for planning. So I thought this would be a great thing for me to experience. And the other thing is, it's Warhammer World's first 60-player kill team event, because they had 40 players previously, but now their events are 60, the same as Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40,000. But there were 20 teams, so 60 players, because 3 players per team. And yeah, they released a unique pack. So there are some problems with the pack in terms of, it seems like it wasn't formatted correctly. It would tell you to go to certain pages as if it was the single player guide, but then not fully changed for the team format. But essentially, you had a team of 3 players, all had to be unique. And then originally, the way it works is, regardless, is each player nominates one of their players to be a defender in secret, and then the other 2 become attackers. You reveal both defenders simultaneously, and then whoever is Team A picks their first matchup and board, and then the other team does the same as well. And then when you have 2 attackers to 1 defender, and when each team has 1 attacker left, those attackers pair against each other. So you do have some choice in deciding the matchup. Now, I know I do know most team tournaments are like 5 or 8 player teams, but I think 3 is much more manageable for this kind of event. And the other thing was, we weren't sure how missions were going to be done. By the way it was written in the rulebook, well, for the event, we thought it was the defender decides what mission you play on. We knew there was going to be a selection of boards. I also knew there was going to be Chalnaf. And then we found out a week before the event there would be Nachman boards. But yeah, the defender got to pick the board, which was very important, but also the mission. But then we found out a week before the event, they released a document, which I'll show now, which basically had Vertigus boards, Octarius boards, then Chalnaf boards, and the hidden Nachman boards. And each board was tied to a specific mission. So the key thing here is the defender had a lot of power. Not only could you pick your first board and match up, but you also got to pick the mission as well. So there was lots of planning in there. And if you're interested, here's what the Nachman boards look like. So thank you to Steve for sending me the pictures of these. And yeah, these were using the new terrain from the Nachman box. So they've added this time to the Nachman boards an extra tower and 2 containers. But it was a very interesting board because the other boards have a lot of like L and U-shaped terrain, whereas the Nachman board is very blocky and has pipes, but most of it's blocks and big shapes. So there's not much for you to sneakily hide around and run through, but that offers its own missions. And yeah, that was pretty much the main thing for the event as a whole. As for the event planning and preparation, which I'll get into now, yeah, as I said, it was always going to be me and Charles. We wanted Aitan, but unfortunately Aitan had the instance of having a child before the event, and he could have come, But the problem was, if he did come with us to be our third, he probably wouldn't have a wife when he came back home. So we understood why he couldn't come. And we could only really confirm in about early January, because we thought we might be in another lockdown throughout March or whatever. So once everything was sorted out in January, we were like, okay, we need a third player. I asked a lot of people, and then we finally got someone. And then we booked everything. And then a week before the event, they had to cancel. So we had to find someone else last minute. But thankfully, we have a very good friend called Alex, who we used to play Warhammer with a lot. And he's like he used to play X-Wing really well back when it was popular or good. The only problem is he's never played Kill Team, so we effectively taught him how to play in 5 days. He had an intro game on the Tuesday before the tournament, and then we went down to Nottingham on the Friday and basically hard taught him the game because we were talking him throughout, but then we were like physically showing him how to play. Team selection wise, I was Pathfinders. Charles was Vet Guard at my suggestion, because I think Vet Guard suits how he plays, but also in a team format where you get to pick the board and mission and your matchup, Vet Guard are insanely good, because you can effectively pick kill teams you're always going to massively outnumber and control. I was Pathfinders because my plan was to be the attacker, because I can play into any matchup. People would either dodge me or send their best player into me, and I could deal with either. There was no problem with me. I was very confident with the Pathfinders. And originally we had a Novitiates player, because I really wanted Novitiates, because I think Novitiates are very, very good, because they can pick their dice, as in with fake dice, they can choose what results they want, and they get so many rerolls, you don't even have to roll. It's crazy. And that was our original team, but when our Novitiate player dropped, we taught Alex, and I gave him my commandos, because I was like, you're just going to play commandos, you're going to do this. You're really good at running in and killing stuff, and commandos can do that. So yeah, we went full bespoke, no compendium teams. Charles wanted to run AdMech, but I was like, no, Charles, you go Vet Guard, because everyone's expecting you to run AdMech as well. So you go Vet Guard, it's going to throw everyone off. And that was pretty much our prep. The other problem was me and Charles didn't get many games in. Charles got like in 1 game before he went to Nottingham, and then 2 games on the Friday before the event. And I only got the same amount of practice games, because obviously we went to an aeronautical event, and after that I got very sick with the Rona. So obviously I had 2-3 weeks that was going to be our plan for testing and just practicing, and obviously I couldn't do any of that, and Charles had no one to practice with. So we were quite dubious about how we were going to do, but our plan was just, we wanted to go there, experience the event, and have fun. We were like, if we win, that is just a bonus, because we weren't like, Charles hadn't had enough practice. I was confident in myself, and then we had to train Alex. So it was not like Alex was bad, he's just a new player, and he can pick up the game really quick, but we expected the field to be very tough. So we didn't think we would do that well. And then the other thing is, they dropped the balanced data slate the week before the event, but after lists had been submitted. So if you weren't aware, the data slate had a bunch of changes. The main changes that were in use for this event was that you couldn't chain more than 2 operatives. So you could activate 1 and then 2, but you couldn't do a third. And they were only using the a worthy cause change for the Pathfinders. As a compensation, they did allow you to change your roster for the Pathfinders, which I did, because I added a shield drone and a normal warrior. So a Shas'Ui, I think, or Shas'La. Because originally I was just like, yeah, I had like a 16-man roster, and then I changed it. I'll put our rosters in the episode description. But we weren't allowed to change our factions. We were just allowed, if you were a Pathfinder player, to change your roster in terms of like adding or removing models. So I added some. I don't know what the other Pathfinder players did. But yeah, it's like that kind of also messed up things, because yeah, when I talked to the events team, they said because they had already announced they couldn't use all of it because it was past the submission, but then they like discussed it with the rules team, and like they were always going to use, you can't chain more than 2 operatives, but apparently the rules team wanted the first pie-in. So a worthy cause was 2 CP, could only use it once and only if going second. I know a lot of Pathfinder players were upset by that. A lot of other players were very ecstatic by that. But I was okay. I was just like, okay, I can still ignore heavy terrain with my 5 marker lights, you know, and my Grenadier has 2 grenades, whatever. That doesn't affect me anyway. But we had no real practice, and that was our event prep. Like, it was very bad, and we were aware, but as I said, our plan was just to go and have fun. So I'm going to do a podcast on this with Charles and Alex. So if you want to listen to all our games, we'll kind of talk it through, and then the podcast will be up next week. But I'm going to do a brief run through of our games as a whole. So, because it's difficult if I try and do 3 games each round, because it was 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, that would be 18 games for me to go through, and I only got pictures of mine. So I need to bring up my results pages, but I'll do that later. But obviously, you know, for round 1, our team name was Kill Team Teams Crit Team, because it's the Kill Team Teams tournament using Kill Team at Warhammer World. Anyway. Yeah, so it was me, Charles, and Alex. So round 1, we were paired against... Oh, I forget their name. I'll post it in a bit. But yeah, so they were running... I think it was Sisters of Battle from the Compendium. And then I was playing against... They had a Pathfinder player. And what did I play against? Let me just bring it up. Oh, I was playing against Tyranids. Tyranids, there we go, I remember. So we only found this from round 2 onwards, but the way it's worded in the book is if you are the attacker and defender, the defender just picks everything. But we only found out after, once we played our team, our opponents in round 2 and spoke to the judges. The judges were like, oh, yeah, we haven't put it in there, but it should be roll off. But if you either pick or roll off for all 3 games, you don't mind. So for this round, we had the defenders pick, the attackers roll off to see who is the defender, and like, so all the defenders pick. So I was the attacker. My defender picked Chalnath, which is a good pick for him. Actually, I don't know, because basically what happened is you have to roll off for Team A and Team B, and Team A gets the first pick. I was the dedicated roller, because I'm team captain, and I won that role. So we had Charles pick, I think he picked the Octarius board because that was the easiest for him. He did not want to play on Chalnath because it was too much heavy. Really, it's really bad for shooting teams, unless you're Pathfinders, because you go, I've got 5 marker lights on you. So I played him against that. He was running 5 Gene Stealers with adrenal glands and 3 warriors. The leader had like a gun and swords, and then he had a Death Spitter, and then he had a Venom Cannon and then a double blade warrior. We were playing domination, and effectively, I put climbing ropes on my sniper and grenadier, and then effectively, because I am quite experienced in the Tyranid matchup, it was weird. So end of turning point 1, he had advanced a Gene Stealer into the middle, and then I moved my gun drone up, who just could have a clear shot. So I shot, because of the punishing vantage point, retained, got 3 hits, knocked it down to 4 wounds. Then next activation, used the drone controller to have it shoot again, and then retained, got 2 hits, killed that Gene Stealer. He moved another Gene Stealer onto the mid, which I grenaded, and then I ran my Medicon and claimed it. I claimed my top right objective, but I didn't claim my bottom right, whereas he claimed his objectives on both sides. Because effectively what I also did is I marker lighted a ton of stuff I wanted to kill or forced to run away. So I marker lighted his leader with 2 marker lights and immediately moved his leader behind heavy cover at the back of the building so he couldn't see it, because he deployed his leader top left. He ran one of his warriors just up to the bottom right building. And the entire problem is, because they have such wide poses, I could easily see his tail and claws. So I got 5 marker lights on him and just wiped out a warrior and 2 Gene Stealers turn 1. 2 Gene Stealers turn 1, just because he had to rush to the middle and his warrior I could just see. And then turning point 2, I managed to kill, because my attack ops were faction attack op 3, so kill more while engaged, overrun and plant signal beacon. I had a shield drone because my new tech was I don't run the heavy recon drone, like the recon drone, unless I massively outnumber someone, because he had 8 operatives. I wanted 13. And I knew I had a feeling he was going to pick security, which he did. So I was using my shield drone to nullify security because I was just flying into his drop zone. And yeah, turning point 2, I killed another warrior and 3 gene stealers, and he didn't kill anyone. And then yeah, turn 3, I wiped him out, apart from one guy. Sorry, I wiped him out apart from 1 gene stealer, because effectively killed his leader, killed his other warrior, and killed 2 more gene stealers, but left 1 with just -1 APL. So all it could do was charge. And then, yeah, I effectively dominated the game, maxed my tac ops. I'll double check my score. So let me just hold on for a minute. I don't know my score, but I got 2 turn 1 from the primary. I got 2 turn 1, 3 turn 2 because I controlled 3. Then, we got 1 turning point 1, 2 turning point 2, 3 turning point 3, and 4 turning point 4. So that was about 7, 8, 10 on the primary and 16 on the 6 on the secondaries. So I got 16. I think he only got 1 or 2 because he had like behind enemy lines, like kill people on the points, which he couldn't do. So I kind of just shut him down. He was a great guy, but it's like the problem is even when explaining how marker lights work and people understand, the problem when you go, I can see any visible part, it was just rough. And then Charles just managed to beat the sisters. Like, Charles was like, damn, man, they have their own just a scratch. And I was like, they do? So Charles barely won that game. And then Alex unfortunately narrowly lost against their Pathfinder player. But we kind of expected that would happen with Alex. So we managed to win that 2-1. And the way scoring works is you get 6 points for 3 wins, 4 points for 2 wins and a loss. I'll put up in a box. But effectively, that's all the scoring. So while winning is important, going 3-0 is more. So we were just happy to get a 2-1. As I said, we were very, very not really hopeful about winning this. So we were like, okay, that's fine. We had good opponents. And yeah, then we went into round 2. So round 2, we were paired against Command Point UK, who were what we were worried effectively the best team in the tournament, because we thought some GW employees might go, like from the rules team. But effectively, we know like Command Point, they're not from Command Point. They're from like the UK tabletop simulator players or whatever. They sometimes play in London, but they play a lot of tabletop simulator. And yeah, we kind of we played against Mark, one of their players, at the Bad Moon tournament when I first used Pathfinders. And we were like, we thought we were going to play these guys, if we were lucky, round 4 of day 2. So we were like, we're playing them round 2. They were the only team to get 3 wins in round 1, and we were like, wow, we guys are screwed, aren't we? Thankfully, we rolled off. I won roll off again, so we were teammates. So Charles picked the easy board for him. He picked Commandos. Their defender was Harlequins, who picked me. And then, unfortunately, Alex had to play Pathfinders again against, I think it was, I forget his name. But yeah, so it was me against the Harlequin player in Secure Archaeotech. So it was on a Vertigus board, as you can see. Once again, I went with 13 models. I did take the shield drone, gun drone, marker drone. I took 2 rail rifles and the rail specialist. And yeah, done all the other specialists. Because once again, people go, why'd you take a shield drone, John? It's to steal objectives. Really, really important. So this was actually, I thought I might have lost this game. It was going to be really tough because he had taken 3 plasmas. And yeah, basically turn 1, he had captured, as in spend an AP to unlock 3 or 4 of the objectives. And what we found out during turning point 1 is you can pick up the objectives and then immediately drop them at any time during the rest of your activation. So what you do is move within black of the center, pick it up, and then immediately drop it, so he was effectively moving it, and then move away, or claim it, pick it up, dash back, and that kind of jazz. It was completely legal, and I was like, damn. So my first activation was I gave the shield drone +1 APL, then I used my drone controller to move, take control of the shield drone, who moved to my closest objective, claimed it, and then picked it up. Because I knew he was like never going to be able to kill it. I was the defender, so I picked that bottom edge, I think. No, he was the defender. So he picked, yeah, he made me pick that. No, I was the defender, yeah, so I picked the bottom edge. And then he was like dancing around a bit. He was playing like domino field, so this was, you know, I basically had to get within 2 inches to shoot. Couldn't get any shots off, but I kept everyone mostly engaged. My tac ops were mark enemy movements, so mark light people, kill more, and then also plant signal beacon. So turn 1, I was like, I can't kill any of you, but I can mark a light. So I mark lighted 4 of his guys, and I had claimed 1 and was holding 1 objective. Then turning point 2, I like ran a guy onto one of the other objectives to claim them after he had claimed basically the other 4. He got a really good grenade shot that he ran, he charged, killed someone, then he threw his grenade and killed my Transpectral and drone controller, and I was like, oh, this is game over. Like, I have not killed enough. But then at the end of turning point 2, I had killed 4 of his guys while he had killed 4 of mine. So I got 1 point on my faction tac op. And I had 1 on the two on the primary, also holding an objective, because remember it scores at the end, and he was holding 2 and had claimed the others. So he was on 2. He was playing infiltration, so he was just scoring like upload viral code. And then turning point 3 was where everything kind of turned. So he started like, I was like, oh, he's moved one of his guys to the bottom right pipe, and I was like, he's gonna interlope. But no, he interloped with someone else. Then we read he tried to interlope carrying the objective, and it said you have to drop it the moment you leave the board. And he was like, oh, I'll still interlope, but I was like, oh, we'll put it at the edge. He's like, oh, well, I would have just put it, you know, before I moved. I was like, okay, that's fine. So it was closer to me, but it was like on the edge of the pipe on the right. And then so my leader was going to move up to kill a Harlequin, and then he captured hostage and infiltrated with another of his Harlequins. So I was down to like 7 miniatures, 7 operatives, and he was down to 4. And I was like, why is he doing this? Why is he rushing to like score his tac ops on turn 3? And then I realized we had 10 minutes left. And the rule in the tournament is if you get to 5 minutes on the clock, you don't continue. So I was like, I'm going to rush to turn 4, because it's like he has brought himself down by 2. Obviously, he's doing the right thing. He thinks there's not going to be a turn 4, but I'm just going to rush through my stuff because I can get to turn 4. That's my goal. So I had a gunner run pick up 5 because I had Montcar, and then basically he just ran back. He just ran because I suicided a gun drone to kill one of his grenades, and then his leader charged my gun drone and only rolled a single hit and a crit, and my drone rolled a crit and a hit, and he didn't want to spend a CP to kill it, so he critted me, and then I was like, parry, and then I punt you for 4 damage because it was a gun drone, and he was like, I should have killed you, and I was like, gun drone! So my gun drone was tying up his leader, and yeah, I picked up 5, and like, so I'm now holding 2. We got to turning point 4 with like 8 minutes left on the clock. And then I was like, cool, he's only got 2 operatives left now, because my first activation was to kill his wounded operative. And then it's like, he fluffed with one of his guys because he thought he played the extra movement when he actually played domino field, so he couldn't run onto to claim the objective. So he ran to shoot my medic and rolled with his neuro pistol 2 hits. And I was like, oh, well, I need to save one of these. Saved one. I was injured, but I was like, oh, cool. I'm like 4 inches from the objective. You've activated. I'm going to move and pick up that. His leader finally killed my gun drone and then just moved back behind his building. So what I did was pick up all the objectives. My wounded blooded had picked up 2. But what I'd done is if he killed my blooded instead of just running back, he would have stopped me scoring plant signal beacon. So all I did was go +1 APL on the blooded. Are you going to overwatch? Oh, no one's in range. I'm going to move up because I already hold the objective and plant signal beacon for 2. You are unable to stop that because you can't move. Then he shot someone. He shot the blooded dead. Oh no, because I gave it +1 APL, turning point 3, and then I just like, okay, I moved my comms up to claim the objective. So because he had brought himself 2 members down and he had effectively claimed most of the points for me, I was now holding 5 objectives. He was holding 1, because remember, he'd brought some of the objectives closer to me when he tried to kill my guys and ran off the board. So I ended up scoring 10 victory points from the primary in the final round, because there's no limit on how many you can score per round, just in total for this mission. So I'd scored 2 from turning point 1 and 2, and then 10 from turning point 5 for turning point 4. So I'd maxed out the primary, and then I scored 5 on my secondaries. The only thing I was confused about, I didn't score it, is like, if you infiltrate off the board, does that count as me killing you? It wasn't defined anywhere, so didn't play that. So I got 2 for plant signal beacon, 2 for marker lighting everyone, because I marker lighted him turn 1 and 2. And then I got 1 for faction tag up 3. So I ended up winning 17-5, 17-12. Yeah, and I was just like, how did I win it? It was really tough, because like that, when he grenaded me, I thought I'd lost. But yeah, I think he even admitted that he made the mistake of interloping and getting his guys off turn 3. But the problem is, if we didn't go to a turn 4, then he probably would have lost. But also, like, if charging into open and interloping with my leader was a good move, because otherwise he would just be in the open and then I would have killed his guy, so it would have been a 1-for-1 trade. Because his problem was, like, you have 13 guys, I only have 8, and I was like, yep, like, but that was super tough. And I was like, oh, didn't think I was going to win that one. We probably lost the other 2, and I was like, Charles, how did you do? He was like, oh no, I beat Commandos, because he had played Mark as well previously. He's like, oh no, I won like 18-10. I was like, oh my gosh, Alex, how did you do? I was like, I got Pathfinder. I was like, oh no. I was like, but Alex was like, I dynamited him twice, and I was like, that was all I wanted to. I killed like his big drone and 5 guys. It was great. And yeah, somehow we ended up winning round 2, and then when we were on top, we were like, we did not think that was going to happen. We thought we were just going to lose. It was really fun and tough games, but we were like, oh my gosh. And then we went into round 3. These were the binary guys called the winners in binary. But effectively it was Sisters again, Hunter Clades, and Hive Tyranids. So then I played into the Tyranids on Consecration, and playing against a lovely guy, explaining everything. That he was still quite new, but I'd been playing for a bit. The only problem was when you tried to explain heavy and how marker lights work, it was just that. But he swarmed me well, because the way with Consecration, you have to claim, consecrate a point, then hold it. But the thing is, I had EMP grenades. So he was rushing me down the left flank, and I was able to just kill guys because I had my sniper on the vantage. He was pinning them down. And then he had put 3 gaunts around objective 4 with 1 behind the wall. So I EMP'd them going, I'm just going to, injure them or wound them. Killed 3 of the gaunts, 2 of the gaunts, injured 1 and contested the point. So I was like, yeah, this is... Oh. So I killed a lot of gaunts turning point 1. I managed to kill his gunner in the middle just because I mark lighted him, and just once he had 5 marker lights, he just died. Like, there was just nothing he could do. Turning point 2, once again, I marker lighted and killed his other warrior, and like he only had 2 Hallmark gaunts left at the end of turning point 2. He was still holding like 1 less objective than I was. He went with Seek and Destroy. He made the mistake with Rout where he thought he could score it by killing my guys from afar. Because the problem is Rout was really easy to misread. But then by the end, yeah, I wiped him out. And I didn't max out my tac ops because I went with Vantage, Plant Signal Beacon, and Killmore. So I maxed out Killmore faction tac op 3, got Plant Signal, and we got 1 for Vantage. He actually went after my drones, which was really annoying. I love my drones, but he specifically went to kill my drones, which was frustrating. But he was playing aggressively. The only problem is I had EMP grenades, and the marker lights just messed him up. Because I was defender, we had played on this board on the Friday, and even on the day we'd fed back to the events team, like, this board was probably the worst. And they were like, yeah, we kind of have a feeling. Because if you can't see from this board already, it's really open, and there's a lot of disrupting heavy terrain. So the problem is if you're a melee team, I was the defender, so I automatically picked this side. I had a vantage point on my side looking down on 5. He had to run around or run through his wall on his top right, and it was just rough there. It was like me winning the like once again I'd won the role up to be team A, and I'd won the defender role, so I was like, yeah, this is not going to go well for him. And I think I won that one like 14-2 because I didn't max out primary, because it's really difficult to max out primary here. And yeah, I only got 5 from the attack ops, but he's a really fun guy, really cool. And somehow like Alex managed to beat the Hunter Clades by 2 VP, and we were like, whoa. And then Charles was like, yeah, don't worry, I just managed to beat Sisters again. I was like, oh, okay, Charles is good, but you're struggling versus the Compendiums. I don't care. We somehow managed a 3-0. We didn't think we would get this far. Really great guys, and once again, really fun. And then that was the end of Saturday. We were supposed to have, a pub quiz for Kill Team on the Saturday, but they didn't have enough staff. Last minute thing. Then we got to day 2. So the thing about this tournament is, with this number of players, it was Swiss up until round 4. After round 4, you'd be playing random people because there'd be no more undefeated teams. So we were the like only undefeated team at the end. Oh no, there was one other team that was undefeated. But we were like highest points or whatever. Battle points, yeah, because we somehow won in round 2. And then, yeah, we were against Raf, Duty, and a bit of Dakar. So they were using... What was it? It was... I played against Vet Guard. I think Alex played against Commandos. And Charles played against, I believe... Oh, Space Marines. Space Marines, yeah, because they were the only other undefeated team, and they had a Space Marine player, Vet Guard, and Commandos. So I was like, okay, Alex, teach him about the mirror, because effectively, Alex we all felt sorry for him because we thought he was going to play Pathfinders all tournament, but he had effectively used Friday and Saturday to learn how to play the game. So he was very confident after his round 3 win. So we're like, cool, Alex, as long as you're happy. And so this round was really tough. I had to, like, the opponent is, even though once again I explained how heavy terrain worked and marker lights, my opponent was a little bit confused about it, but he got good with hiding stuff. And effectively, he moved his demo, because we were playing, what was this one again? It wasn't Seize Ground. Seize Ground, so there's 6 objectives. So he moved his demo to place a mine on one and then hid behind his top left objective, behind the barricade. The only problem is my entire kill team could see that guy. So I put 5 marker lights on him while he was moving up stuff, killed him, and I was like, cool, no need to worry about the demo. He did try to mortar barrage one of my guys, but then he was, oh, it's heavy, so he couldn't, because I was more than 2 inches away from it. And I used climbing rope on my sniper to get him up onto the building. Couldn't get a shot, but he did. He managed to somehow kill a guy because he had moved all his guys around the open and missed. I had a climbing rope, I think. He didn't think I could have had the movement to climb it. And then I just set up, I did a YOLO grenade on his confidant, and he had 2 more guys around the middle objective, which is behind that building. And effectively, I was like, wounded the confidant, so he's injured. He had like 4 wounds left, and then killed 2 guys. And I was like, oh my gosh, this EMP went crazy. I rolled like 4 crits on the other 2 guys, and they just exploded. He still controlled that objective, but I was just like, oh, this EMP. And then he moved up, because the problem that was all heavy. So I wanted to just control it with the drone, but because the drone's only 1 AP and he moved his plasma behind the pillar, I couldn't run and dash because he was perfectly hidden. So I had to move and climb and just suicide my drone controller onto the point. Turning point 2, he won priority. I didn't pop a worthy cause, and I was like, okay, he's going to shoot my drone controller. Shot my drone controller with the sniper, I think. Yeah, because the sniper was on the punishing vantage. He's like, retained a hit, and I was like, he didn't get any crits. And I was like, I need to save this. And I managed to live, because each one does 3 shots. So I saved 2, because I was still behind a vantage, behind some cover. So I managed to live on 1 wound, because he did 6 damage to my my drone controller. I was like, yeah, drone controller is going to activate and just like use the gun drone to kill up stuff. But effectively, turning point 2, I used another EMP just to mass up and contest his objective in the top left because I had thinned down a lot, killed his leader. I had just thrown in even my sniper and shield drone, marker drone, sorry, onto objective 2 because it was just like he only had 2 guys. I'd killed everyone else. He was charge blocking, but then the marker drone was there. So I controlled objective 2. I couldn't get to objective 3, but I controlled the top left objective. I controlled all of my bottom 3. Couldn't get to his 4 or middle. So then I was ahead on the primary. He had like behind enemy line, hold the line, which he couldn't score because I had my shield drone, which was just suiciding up to where his comms guy was, and then my marker drone. I had too many people in his deployment zone. Then turn 3, effectively killed mostly everyone, and then my drone controller, who was just hiding for dear life behind behind that pillar in objective 3, and then just immediately first activation was just like plant signal beacon because he had activators more and stuff. So I managed to, I didn't max out primary on there. I think I got like 8 or something from the primary, but I maxed out my attack ops, which was kill more, overrun, plant signal beacon. And yeah, it felt like, once again, a good opponent, but it was just like, it felt rough for him because he was like, I can't shoot you, but you're ignoring all this heavy rules because of your marker lights. I was like, yeah, fortunately. And I had a lot of like, I had some more EMP grenades and they were just spread out for him to deal with. And it was just like, he had to bunch up on the points where I was just sending one piecemeal onto my point. So it was just, he spaced out better after the first EMP, but it was just rough for him. But then Alex just lost the commando mirror and Charles managed to beat the Space Marine player because the Space Marine was their attacker. And I was like, yeah, Charles, you pick the Space Marine. There's only 5 of them. You've got 14 guys. Go ahead. And Charles like maxed out. And then we went on to round 5. So this time we were against Kilt Team, who were the Scottish team. And this time they were using Compendium Demons, Wormblade, and then Commandos. So they had Demons and Wormblade as their attackers. So Charles picked Wormblade. The annoying thing is, on this board, this game and last round, we were playing on the only board that was 1 Octarius, or 1 Vertigus, and then 2 Chownath. So we were like, damn. And once again, I won the roll-off for being team A both times. So Charles was like, thank you, John. Thank you, John. Just keep doing that. So he picked the non-Chownath board again, while I was stuck on a different Chownath board. This time, also, no, it was the same Chownath board. I was just put on the other side for Seas Ground. And my guy was a lovely guy, also a nurse, you know, we were chilling over there. And then he picked 60 minutes and 6 plague bearers. So he had no shooting. I was like, everyone's engaged. I picked kill more, overrun, and plant signal beacon. I explained to him how marker lights worked. And he was like, okay. And then effectively I killed his leader, who was Nurgle. I killed his icon bearer, who was Nurgle. And I killed one of his demonettes. So he wasn't controlling, he was only controlling 1 objective. I managed to get kill more, obviously, and I was controlling all of mine. So I was controlling more, so I got 2. And then what he'd done, he had run a demonette behind the corner of the top right objective. So it was behind the corner of the archway. And I just ran one of my rail rifles. I took rail rifles because they're invons onto objective 4. And I was like, screw it. This is the only time I'm going to do it. So I popped a worthy cause. I had also popped Monkar, so I moved and dashed into his face, and then I was like, have at thee. I rolled 4 5-ups, did 8 mortal wounds, and killed that immediately, and he was like, wow, you've just won the game. And I was like, yeah, that's I think so. That's basically why I did it. And effectively neutered him. Because he was sending guys up to the mid, and I just flew my gun drone. My sniper had climbing ropes, so climbed up and shoot turning point 1. I was just stopping him. He was going to try and run to the door, but I used my medic to body block the door, so for the middle objective, so he had to move around. And, you know, he could only get 1 demon at a time because he was trying to run around the edges. And yeah, effectively, by the end of turning point 2, he only had 3 plague bearers left, sorry. And then the worst thing for him, on turning point 3, he charged my 2 guys in objective 6. So he charged my Grenadier and my Blooded. He was like, cool, I've popped the injured thing. So you're -1 to hit, but +1. I'm going to punch your Blooded. He rolls 2 hits. No, he rolled 1 hit. And he was like, cool, I'll hit you. And like, I'm free attacks hit on 4s because I have a bionic arm. I punted his. He didn't pass any disgusting resilient rolls, and I knocked a plague bearer down to two wounds. He charged my other rail rifle on objective 4, and rolled 4 2s, and it was just like then my Pathfinder punched him back for 4 damage, and it was just like, this is just bizarre. I'm so sorry. And effectively, I wiped him out and maxed out everything. It was really rough for him. We still had a laugh because, he's a great Scottish guy, but that was just a rough game for him. There was no way he could have won that, I think, especially after the Turning Point 2, A Worthy Cause, which was the only time I popped in the tournament. And yeah, it was just the shooting power of Tau, especially with 5 Markolites, because the problem is banners are so tall. I was like, there's a banner, I'm going to Markolite it because I can see the banner. And he was like, yeah. And I maxed out that game, so I did win that one 18-2. Yeah, because he picked security as well, but I had my shield drone running around blocking security like behind enemy lines just because it was too fast for him to catch because he didn't have any shooting. And, I had my gun drone like just flying around the edges as well. And then Charles won against Wormblade. I thought he lost, but he won just. And then, Alex managed to beat their commando player by double dynamiting and just rolling better. Apparently, it was very confusing. All I had saying, "Oh, you have the better knob," is like, my knob is better. So I was like, context. But then that was round 5. So this is the weird thing. So we were undefeated, but we were ranked 2nd by what? Because we were behind 1 point against Command Point, because Command Point were 3-0ing all their games while we were basically 2-0ing or 3-0ing. And we were like, no, this round we were in the lead because they had dropped a game. They'd gone 2-1 this round, and we were like, technically, if we go 3-0, we've won the tournament. But I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want to. I was like, as the team captain, I can handle the stress. I shouldn't put the stress on my teammates. So I was like, yeah, John, if we how Command Point doing if we win turn 6? Because they were coming around our games, seeing how we were doing. I was like, you don't want to know? So I was like, no, we don't want to know. I was like, okay, well, if we 3-0, because they went 2-1 last round, we win. And I was like, but you don't concern that. We're just playing to have fun. It's like because there was like an opportunity. I thought at that point we were guaranteed a podium because of how well we were done, but we were just like, our goal was still just to have fun, which we were doing. Trophies would be bonuses. And then round 6, we played against, I forget their name. But we only found out after they were the guys that took a game off of Command Point. And effectively, they were running Hunter Clades, who was originally Admech that Charles had played and beaten in the first Warhammer World Tournament, Pathfinders, and then Novitiates. So we thought they were going to put the Hunter Clades or Pathfinders as defenders, as most teams had, except for us. But they didn't. They put their sisters, their Novitiates, as defenders. So Charles did. Once again, I won the roll-off for Team A and B. I rolled a 3. I was like, oh, this is it. I finally messed up. And then they rolled a 2. And then like my team was like, yes, John, 6 in a row. That's it. That's why we had no doubts in you, John. So once again, Charles picked the opportune board for him. They paired the Pathfinders into me, and I was like, okay, this is going to be tough. And then Alex got the Hunter Clades. I was like, okay, Alex could do this. It's going to be tough. He's against a very experienced opponent, but I think Hunter Clades lose to Commandos. So I focused on my game. Once again, we were playing Secure Archaeotech, and I was like, cool, I just have to do exactly what I did. Because basically, as I said in my review, I wait, like I maybe claim 1 or 2 objectives, but my end game is to hold them all at the end of the game. I won as defender, and I was like, cool, I have to take bottom. Because originally I picked the top. And the reason I changed my mind, because if you look at that board, you've got a heavy ball on the left, a scramble piece, a heavy ball that blocks that you can't run past because there's not enough space, then a heavy block and a scramble piece. You do have a vantage point there, but you are boxed in. It's really hard for you to get out through the middle of your kills of your drop zone. So it's like, screw it, I'm going to pick the back one. I don't mind hiding behind most of my team behind that big wall. I've got 2 heavy pieces. The one on the left, I can put all my engage stuff, and I can do stuff on the right, and I've got vantage points on both sides if I need to. Once again, I went with 13 operatives. He went with 12. He took like the recon drone, one of each gunner, like an ion and rail rifle, while I just took 2 ions. And yeah, I had all the operatives. I had a shield drone, gun drone, and marker drone. So on the equipment side, he picked the marker light optic, like the aerial marker light bombardment on his medic. And then he picked like 1 enhanced marker light and some other stuff. But that ate up most of his points. And I was like, he's going to marker light bomb me, but that's fine. So then at the start of the game, he was the attacker. So I was like, cool. He's got the recon drone. He's going to pick change order, because he's going to dash and then change order. I'm going to pick barricades. I don't need barricades, but I want to make him go first. And he was like, oh, cool. We'll reveal dice. And he will go, I've got 2, change order. And I was like, 1. And he's like, oh, where are you going to put your barricade? And I was like, I'm going to put it right in the middle on the back of my line. And he was like, oh, why did you do that? I was like, well, because you're going first now. Because he had forward deploy. He'd like used the drone controller to forward deploy his recon drone on the vantage point. I had popped +1 cover save because I was immensely terrified of him going switch to engage with the recon drone and killing my shield drone. So he went first. He didn't do that. So I was like, okay, time to bait it out. I had, for equipment wise, I had EMP on my ion rifle on the right, 3 enhanced marker lights, 1 on my leader, 1 on my blooded Pathfinder, who was on the right, and then 1 on my my comms, who was just on the edge of that left piece of terrain near the shield drone. And then I put enhanced targeting optics on my sniper. And effectively, I was like, cool, 2 marker lights on your recon drone, +1 APL to my shield drone. Your move. And then he just passed with the... Because he was going to switch to engage. Because effectively what I did was I had moved my medic away, because my medic was in the middle behind my shield drone. My shield drone marker light and moved away as well, because he picked faction tack up 1, and I was like, cool, he's going to just try and score that. He revealed faction tack up 3, and I was like, cool, he's probably got like overrun or plant signal. Mine were faction tack up 3, which I didn't reveal, and then overrun and plant signal beacon. So then he just because once I'd moved the marker light and moved the marker drone, moved my leader, moved my medic. So there was only my shield drone. Then I gave my shield drone +1 APL and put 2 marker lights on his heavy drone. And then I was like, cool, he's gonna like dash. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna move and shoot with my recon drone. I was like, you can't do that, it's heavy. He was like, oh, I'll dash and shoot. I was like, yep. He's like, I can see your guy at the edge of the container. I was like, you can't, it's heavy. I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, that's why I moved those 2 guys. And he just left the shield drone. So I was like, cool, drone controller, pick up, move objective, claim objective 2 with the shield drone, pick up objective 2 and move away. And then he did something, because I forgot that his sniper in the middle was the specialist sniper who could fire silent. But I had a thing. He had 1 more marker light left because he had moved a lot of his marker lights. He had marker lighted 5 of my guys, and he was 1 away because he put 2 marker lights from his marker drone onto my sniper. So I was like, he only needs to marker light 1 guy, and he's got his tack up. I know how to mess this up. So the first thing I did was, you can see his guy in the open. I ran my ion rifle 6 inches and shot. Overcharged, spent a CP for reroll because I rolled 2 1s, but I only got 2 hits and 3 misses. I probably shouldn't have burnt that CP, but I wanted to make him think I was definitely trying to get a kill. Wounded him. He ran him back. He changed order to shoot me, killed me, and ran back. And I was like, cool, he's killed someone with a marker light. And then he had moved another guy onto objective 1. So then I suicided my gun drone out, and my gun drone, who had a marker light token, murdered the guy on objective 1. And then he used a sniper to kill my gun drone. And I was like, after that, then you realize, oh, your marker drone had a marker light. Oh, your gun drone had a marker light token. I was like, yeah, you've just prevented yourself from scoring faction tack up 1. He's like, how do you mean? It's like, well, I've got 11 guys left. He's like, yeah. you've killed 2 of them. Originally I had 7 Marker Lights, I've got 5 with Marker Lights now. I was like, yep. You've got no one left who can Marker Light? And he was like, oh. And he was like, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have killed you. I was like, yep, you fell into my trap. So then, turning point 2, I had, like, what I also realized turning point 1 is he just moved his Grenadier around the top right, but not within black of the scramble piece. So I switched one of my guys to engage. I think it was just my medic, not my medic. Sorry, my comms, my interference specialist, and just shot him and just got 3 hits and killed him. So I didn't get more and kill more. Then turning point 2, I revealed faction tack up 3, kill more, and then effectively turning point 2. He then activated his recon drone to do Vantage. I marker lighted up his recon drone. After he activated his recon drone, what I noticed is his marker drone was just at the edge of the board, more than 1 inch away, well, more than black away from any terrain. So I switched my sniper to engage, blew up his marker light, and then ran. And then I killed his recon drone, and I effectively killed like 5 of his operatives, turning point 2. So he couldn't get any shots because he was like, you now massively outnumber me. If I switch anyone to engage, you are just going to kill him. But he switched the sniper to engage just for Overwatch. But effectively, I killed 5 of his guys, and then I had already triggered Overrun, which I'd turning point 3. Then he triggered K-On. I triggered Monkar, moved up, revealed Overrun, knocked him down to like 1 guy, 2 guys, and then like turning point 4, pop part signal beacon with the marker drone, which I just ran up from turning point 3, and I managed to claim. He was holding 1 objective. I had claimed 4, and I was holding 4 as well. So I didn't max primary, but I got like 10 points on it. I maxed my tac ops, and yeah, I think he only ended up scoring like 4 or 5 points. And I was like, whew. If he didn't fall from my bait turning point 1, he probably would have made it much tighter. But everything effectively went my way because I outnumbered him, made him go first, activated last, and yeah, just effectively boxed him in with his own deployment and tricked him into killing the operatives with marker light tokens. But he was in a catch-22. If he didn't kill those guys, he would get 1 faction tack up for faction tack up, 1 victory point faction tack up 1. But then I would have 2 guys in the open with guns. So he had to kill him, but then it cost him, he didn't even score anything for faction tack up 1, which was marker light people. But yeah, I managed to win that one quite confidently. I was like a bit iffy about how Alex was doing from what I could hear. And I was like, okay, Charles can do this. It's fine. It's Novitiates. Yeah, he can do this. I turned to Alex, like, Alex, how did you do? He's like, I lost 14-12. I was like, oh, well, damn, that was close. I was like, yeah, it was, they'd messed up turning point 1 because they were playing on the Nakman board and they got smoke wrong. So effectively, if they played at smoke right, Alex wouldn't have lost anyone. But they played around that. And then on Charles's table, he lost by like 2 or 4 points. And it was like, oh, damn, we've lost. But this is where I'll interject something very interesting. And we only found out when we were playing against a Novitiate player. So this is a side tangent. But at Warhammer World, they get rulings. You know, generally they speak to the rules team. You know that part of faith points where they say you get faith points for doing like specialism directives as based on your operatives like specialist traits, which we thought was only for narrative play. Apparently, that's intended for competitive play. And like they had double checked it with the rules team, with the judges, and we had double checked, and they were like, yeah. So effectively, the Novitiates were getting 3 fate points a turn, 3 from the chalice, and then an operative was getting 1 for killing someone in melee if they were melee, 1 for killing someone at ranged if they were range 1, and then 1 for doing a mission action if they had that trait. So he was like, oh yeah, you know how Charles was like, oh, you know how like we usually, oh, you got 6 fate points a turn. He was getting like 9 a turn. And it was just ridiculous. And I was like the opponent was well, he thought it was silly as well. But yeah, apparently, Novitiates can get even more faith points. It's bizarre. Like, it's not a narrative rule, it's for general competitive play. And if that is the case, that makes novitiates even better. But that's a tangent. Anyway, overall, we'd lost 2-1, as in I'd won 1 game, we'd lost 2. And then this is my fault. I will admit this now. I had messed up counting points in terms of it's been a long 2 days. I had traveled down from London. I thought they outscored us because they originally said they had more points than us, and I was like, it can't be right. I missed a game because we were on 2 3-0 victories, which was 12 points, and then 3 4-point victories when I thought it was 2, and then 1 loss. So we got 1 point because you only get 0 points if you get 3 losses. So I thought we were behind them, and we're like, well, you know what, guys? I had really a lot of fun. It was great games. Even if we don't podium, that my team was like, yeah, we don't care about podium. I mean, we had fun. We had a good weekend down in Warhammer World. The podium was just a bonus. And then Alex was like, yeah, man, I don't. He was like, he didn't mind being thrown against Pathfinders. He's like, John, if you need me to just tank into the Pathfinder matchup and lose, I don't care. But he was like, I had fun. If we win a trophy, that's like max bants because he'll show all his friends and family. And then it came to the award ceremony. So we're like, okay, we're going to come third. We should be coming third. And they had another team and we were like, oh, we didn't even place. And then they were like second place. And we saw it. And in that second, I realized I had messed up. But I was also incredibly happy because it's like, maths is supposed to be my kind of strong suit, but it's an easy mistake to make. Hold it up. I apologized to them immediately after we celebrated because I was really happy we came second because I didn't think we were going to do it. Our opponents saw it differently in general, but generally, we came second. Command Point came first because they were on 29 tournament points. We won 25. So yeah, if we had 3-0'd, we would have won. But I was super ecstatic. Charles was a bit more reserved. Alex was really happy. It was just really shocking because we didn't think Alex would pick up the kill team that quickly, or even win games. But he really loved the game. He picked up it really quickly. I had faith in Alex, and he did really well. And then what else? Charles. We didn't get much practice games in. We didn't test with the new changes, and Charles really hates Vetguard, playing with Vetguard. But it was just great. It's like now I have 2. Gold and silver. Hey, I need bronze to complete the set. But that was really awesome. And it's like everyone was really awesome. The event overall, that was just, I don't know. It's like, I know some people probably upset that we celebrated quite hard, but I was like, literally, Alex saved our weekend. All of our success goes to Alex. If Alex did not come, we wouldn't have even been able to play because we just had so much fun just chilling at Warhammer World, going around. All our opponents were great. There was nothing really bad. There was ambiguities with the rules pack that just needed some clarifications for the team format because I don't think it was properly clarified for a team format. But super tough and super fun. There was a contentious issue where one of my teammates got a bit upset. Not upset. They were like, oh, if we win the tournament unbeaten, but then finish second, that's weird. And I was like, no. Because it makes more sense the people who get the most 3-0s getting the highest points because it's much harder to win with 3 victories than is to win with 2 victories and a loss. So, they could break down the points more for going 6 for 3-0, 5 for 2 wins and a loss, because you could get 4 victory points for a win and 2 draws. But, I think the pointing system was fine. But yeah, it's it all goes, this is all for Alex. We got 1 each. I'll put a picture up now. But we got 1 trophy each, and yeah, it was all down to Alex, like literally, because you know, people may go, oh, Johnny, you literally won everything, but I was like, it doesn't matter in a team game. You need a team, and yeah, Charles and Alex were the best teammates I could have had, and they were just friends. Like the important thing was picking. When you pick a team, it's not about picking just the best player. It's also about picking someone you get on with, and ideally who is a mate, because you're gonna, especially if you're spending a weekend with them, you'll be spending a long time. It needs to be someone you can get along with and have a laugh, which which originally was the plan. It'd be quite dodgy and unpredictable, but oh yeah, it's not like, it's all thanks to Charles and Alex. Firstly, for Charles for willing to play Vet Guard and paying up and converting his own Imperial Cadian versions. Because he was like, John, I hate hitting on 4s. All I'm doing is hitting on 4s. I hate it. I was like, I wanted to play Vet Guard. I wanted to play like an Admech, even though Charles only dropped 1 game. But that's because Vet Guard really worked well in this kind of format. And Alex had a blast. He was like, yeah, cool, man. I've like bought into the game now. It's great. My friends and family are ecstatic, man. I didn't even think I was going to get a tournament, like a trophy. And then, yeah, I was just really happy. Just because I really enjoyed the planning aspect of this, because it's planning yet unpredictable, but you get rewarded for planning. So we were just really overall happy, like so happy for coming second. It was just great. But yeah, for the event as a whole, pros, amazing terrain again. There was a few blips which I discussed with Warhammer World, the events team, which they're aware of. It's really good asymmetrical terrain. And the thing I'd like to point out, which I fed back to them, the boards are really intelligently placed. So there's a real benefit for being the defender. If you look at a lot of their boards and the missions they've placed them for, you can see if you're the attacker, you may get a side which is, yeah, you're the attacker, but it's harder for you to get to the points or to move around your drop zone, whereas the defender may get a vantage point or easier access to the board at the disadvantage of being the defender. And yeah, the boards were overall, like 90% of them, like 99, were just perfect. The only downsides were like that Octarius board I pointed out earlier, and the fact one table, which we played on twice, was 1 Vertigus board and 2 Chownath, because generally it was Vertigus, Octarius, and then you either played on a Nakmund or Chownath board. But having 2 Chownaths and 1 normal board on 1 set of 3 tables was really rough. Just because Chownath can be very warping if you're not used to it. But still, all the terrain rules were fine. People took a while to learn how the Nakmund smoke works, but even then, everything was really intelligently placed. And once again, it was the gold standard for events, especially for team events. I know there hasn't been many. London did one in February, kind of as a, like, I don't know. Personally, it felt like they were trying to undercut Warhammer World a bit, but also it was prep for the Warhammer World event. But their team event was interesting because it's just all the same boards. So all it is about team picking. Because what I really liked with the Warhammer World team event, not only are you picking your matchups, you're picking the board and missions. So it really affords you for planning, even though you've still got that entire unpredictability. And yeah, as I said, the only real downside was the 2 Chownath boards on 1 row of tables, and like that dodgy Octarius board, which they were aware of anyway after they'd like submitted all the boards. The other downside, apart from also the rule book, well, the event pack being ambiguous in certain times, they still, if you asked the event team a question, email, they got back very quickly. The other problem was just the implementation of the balanced data slate. So while the hand may have been forced, I don't know, they were in a rock and a hard place. They didn't think it was going to come before the event, I think. So, I mean, after they'd submitted lists. So they were in a rock and a hard place. It's just, personally, I would either use all or nothing. I think them not being able to chain 2 is fine. It's just, those kind of changes heavily warp of team construction. So if they change that, you know, but that was only a freak occurrence, but it is what it is. And then as a side note, this is after like all the pros and cons, because I highly recommend Warhammer World. It's still the gold standard for events, especially team events. And you should definitely check it out. I'm going to the one in June. That's already sold out. It's going to be 60 players as well. So it looks like 60 players is the standard now for Kill Team. So if they go up to 80 for 40k in Sigmar, you might get 80 as well, which would be amazing because Kill Team's just growing and growing. People did ask for like individual stats, but the problem is because it's all done by teams, there really isn't. The only thing I know of is that I think, because every team effectively lost either 2-1, like they lost 2 games or 3 games, apart from Command Point lost 1. I think I was the only undefeated Pathfinder player. I'm not sure on this, because I know Command Point, their Pathfinder player lost a game. Then like all the Pathfinder players I'd spoken to had lost at least 1 game in a round. But I don't know if I was the only undefeated player. I think I was the only undefeated Pathfinder player. And I'm not really trying to say as a braggy thing, because I know people will take it that way, especially if I type this out on the article. But I think I was the only undefeated Pathfinder player, but I'm not sure. And I might have been the only undefeated player, ? I think. Because the problem is, I don't know how many teams went 0-3. A lot of teams went 1 win, 2 losses. Charles, I think, might have been the best performing Vet Guard player because he only dropped 1 game. But that once again, I'm unsure on that. But yeah, generally everyone took 2 bespoke teams and 1 compendium team. I think we were like the only kill team, apart from the people we played last, using full bespoke, as in no compendium. So that was an interesting thing to notice, because what we felt was like a lot of players were like, they came up with their 40k friends. So it was like, you've got 2 kill team players and then their 40k friend who was just using what they had for 40k. That's what we thought, but only some of the teams said that. Some people had just bought in like compendium teams because that's what they liked. They were easier to get into. But yeah, that's the only interesting stats I can remember, because as I said, nothing was recorded like that. But yeah, really fun event. Highly recommend going. And yeah, before I go, please remember to like and subscribe, as comment as what you thought of this video, the event, how it went overall, what you thought, and just anything else. I should be doing this as an article, very brief article, and once again I'll have a podcast, albeit, well, they will be in the episode description. Just check them out as the rosters. But biggest thanks, already said it to them like several times, but Alex and Charles, thank you so much. Wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. And yeah, the events team and all our opponents, just so much fun. Like, that's why we were so determined to go, because we knew the event would be fun, as well as everyone there. Everyone was super friendly. You know, you got to see the events hall. Food was good. Toilets were good. Bought some event exclusive stuff. Bought some Harlequins for the Void Dancers. Oh, have I got some views for those, which will come soon. But it's really fun. I keep saying it, but I highly recommend going to Warhammer World. I know there were a few other London teams which we met around as well, which were great. They play in the Bad Moon tournament. I can't make the April one, but I think I'm making Glass Half Dead's tournament in May. It's that the schedule's more planned out now, so I can kind of see what tournaments I can go to. But as for the future, I'm painting the Corsairs, and I need to do. I have a Void Dancer kill team. I need to talk about them because I'm very unhappy with the Void Dancers. I really don't like the Void Dancer balance. Void Dancers and Pathfinders are both broken. It's not good, guys, for those two teams. But yeah, the other thing I'll add, what people will probably be really interested in is how these changes affected me. So obviously, Grenadier change wasn't in use, and the Markalite. To be honest, the Markalite effect would have done nothing. Everything I Markalited on Chownath, apart from like one guy, was in open terrain, so I would have been able to shoot them. And the Grenadier generally died or only got 1 grenade shot off. Sometimes it got 2, but it wouldn't have done much either way. I still would have gotten that first one off. And as I said, the worthy cause, I don't really use a worthy cause much anyway. The biggest change is now I just stop using the recon drone. I'll use the recon drone if I think it's situationally useful in the matchup, but I found just having 13 bodies way more useful, because your opponent just goes, I can't kill that many bodies. And you go like, yep, I massively outnumber you. I can do now whatever I want. Can still marker like you. I only effectively need to use a worthy cause once. I actually don't even pop command like stratagems turn 1 now. I might do a cheeky bonded or like +1 cover, but generally I'll stock them. I start stockpiling them and go like, yeah, turning point 2, I could a worthy cause, but generally I'll just go bonded, maybe a recon sweep, but usually bonded Montcar. It's not really, I would say the changes has actually made my Pathfinder stronger, because now I've stopped relying on like the recon drone and the worthy cause and like all the chaining. So I'm just like, yeah, had no effect. And even when I was discussing with the other players, it was just like, I have more bodies than you. As long as I have more bodies than you, I can make better trades because you can't trade into me, and my guys hit harder. But that's my thoughts. Need to play more. Obviously, I was only playing with a few of the changes. I know Pathfinder players themselves are going to argue vehemently that they're fine now. Fine. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been rambling for a long time. I've got to edit this down. It's going to be around an hour. I'll try my best to shorten it, but hope it wasn't too boring and long to listen to. But I'll be back with more Kill Team content soon. April's going to be fun. I've got a lot of plans for April. It's my birthday month. I've also been doing this now for nearly 2 years on YouTube, 4 years as a whole. I've started Can You Roll a Crit? So if you've been listening, reading, watching me for this long, thank you. I'm also at 3,500 subs. It's crazy. I'm so happy. Thank you. Like, it means a lot that you guys watch and comment on all of this stuff. So glad you like listening to my mad ramblings. So until next time, remember, you can always roll a crit, especially when you're supported by your teammates.